Oreo playing for the Ospreys. As Oreo goes, the Ospreys go as well. They're going to need him to have a big-time performance tonight for them to have a chance against the Volunteers.
The Birds are in flight. They have headed up north to Knoxville. Back-to-back SEC games for North Florida. Tennessee, they've been home for their first 3 games. Rocky Top is up on their feet and ready to go.
Well, right away, Andy, I think that, the fans out there from both teams, you're going to see a decided heighted disadvantage for the Ospreys. And look for the Volunteers to get the ball in the interior as they turn it over in the first possession.
Early giveaway from Ethan Berg. Orioles swooped in to grab it. This is starting 5 for North Florida and Bobby Kinnan. Just game 2 for the Ospreys. Felix Akpara rejection. Tennessee wants to run. Gillespie to the rim. He'll take a foul.
Yeah, I think we're going to keep track of the blocks as well tonight. We talked about this in the pregame. It's going to be a challenge. Anytime you go amongst the trees and you have that type of, or lack of stature, if you will, it's going to be a long night.
Tennessee has really made their living early going this season in the paint. This might be one of the more prosperous paint presences that Rick Barnes has had in his tenure at Tennessee, and they're going to utilize that.
Well, I mean, in his arsenal, he's got 5 guys. 5 true guys that are vying for playing time. We'll talk about this much throughout this broadcast, but, you look at Jalen Carey and J.P. Estrella, Felix Akpara on the floor, Cade Phillips on the floor, and then you got a budding sensational freshman that's come in and that's trying to get some playing time of his own.
Gillespie 1 for 2 at the line. A talented transfer from Maryland. Other end, North Florida 3 from Mason Lee off the mark. And now freshman Nate Amon off of a fantastic first week of collegiate action can get that bucket. Different lineup for head coach Rick Barnes. Game 3, Tennessee's had a different lineup in all of it.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they had two games last year where they had a different lineup. So, I think this is good. It's a live audition. We've talked about this before, but it's good for these guys to see someone other than orange and white and have some real competition.
Gillespie trying to find Cade Phillips on the lob. Can't connect. 3 on the other end, good. Kent Jackson drains it.
Kent Jackson, man, smooth stroke, man, smooth operator. Saw that many times in shoot-around just today.
And now Gillespie has his pocket pick from Jackson. Jackson all the way down. Smooth pass and finish. Devin Hines gets it to go.
Yeah, that's what you want if you're an Osprey, man. Turn Tennessee over. Tennessee has a tendency to get a little loose with the passes, get a little loose, be a little lackadaisical. This right here can keep an underdog into a ball game, especially early.
North Florida making it very uncomfortable for Tennessee right now. The Volunteers have had a bit of a turnover issue in their first 2 games, 19 in that Game 1 win over Mercer. They cut that down to 12 Saturday against Northern Kentucky, but Coach Barnes knows they could still be better.
Well, that's a point of emphasis, right? Because rarely will you see a Coach Barnes basketball team that has a 1-to-1 assist-turnover ratio like they did in the first game with 19 and 19.
Ball's looking to settle in after an aggressive start from North Florida. Phillips, easy look right there, just couldn't connect.
Yeah, just kind of pulled the trigger on that one.
Oriole to the 10 and swatted. Cade Phillips, defensive gym. Amon on the other end using his length.
Yeah, and you said it, that's very apropos, Andy, using that length because he's a high riser. But the most impressive thing about Nate is that he gets it off at the highest release point. Really
up-tempo play here in the first 3 minutes of this one. Tennessee generates a turnover. Gillespie, hard contact. Amon rips it away. Ball's flying everywhere. Out of play, it'll stay Tennessee ball. Yeah, a little helter-skelter-ish if you're Tennessee right now. Look for them to settle in, get some easy baskets, and you talk about a legendary head coach and Coach Barnes, man. This is a live audition. If you want playing time, come SEC play, you better make the most of what you got right now. And that was freshman Troy Henderson who took the 3. It's a Tennessee team that is going to look to a lot of freshmen to contribute. Tennessee is without Bishop Boswell, who started the first 2 games. So opportunity for some of these guys to earn more minutes tonight.
And Bishop Boswell had been playing well. Hit a couple of threes in their last game. You know, a bit of a coming out party for him.
Jumper good. Cameron Oriole picking right back up. He left off against Florida last week.
Really good looking player.
Here's JP Estrella. He's had a great start to the year. Followed his shot for an easy two.
You know, sometimes I think with JP Estrella, man, he's on a pogo stick because he's got the type of athleticism. If he misses it, he doesn't stay on the floor long. He gets right back up with two hands and goes back up with it.
Estrella cuts North Florida's lead to 2. A deep three from Jackson, no good. Gillespie all alone. A smooth finish for the jam.
That's what he can do. And I think that is the type of play that gets him into a rhythm, right? Gets him to settle in and gets Tennessee going.
Both teams just settling into these first 4 minutes. Good start for North Florida right out of the gates. Oriole, that pass stolen. Henderson. Freshman Henderson looking for fellow freshman Ament. Close to what could have been a highlight alley-oop.
Yeah, the timing just wasn't there. I don't think Nate expected that. But, you know, again, those type of things, because of the lack of continuity with these newcomers, that'll come in time.
Tennessee, good defense inside again. It's going to be really difficult for North Florida to make a living down low. Henderson, he's a sharpshooter, nails that one.
Hey, he's not bashful. You know, sometimes freshmen come in and they try to get their feet wet and try to, you know, acclimate themselves to what coach wants them to do. But this guy's not shy at all. He's going to put it up.
Tennessee's got their first lead very early into this matchup. Here's Lee out to Oriole.
Good extra
Wide
pass.
open as Devin Hines can't connect that time.
Yeah, need to knock those down. That's a terrific extra pass. Caught Tennessee in rotation.
Gillespie, floater, Silk.
Yeah, that was too easy. Way too easy if you're the Ospreys.
Up-tempo start for these two teams. Hold on to your popcorn because we're moving fast, Steve.
Yeah, great ahead pass. Troy Henderson, man, let me get it to the guy that is a high riser that can finish above the rim.
Tennessee by 5. They're on a 9-0 run over the last 99 seconds. A jolt of energy to start this game. North Florida, though, certainly giving Tennessee a lot to handle. They don't return a lot, Steve. Just 11 points per game back on this roster from last year. But it's a team that's going to be built on toughness.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, when you talk to head coach at shoot-around today, that's tough when you're returning 14% of the scoring, and that's primarily one guy that has, you know, makes up that scoring. It's hard for a mid-major program to come into this environment, to go to the Exact Tech Arena down in Florida and have success, because you don't know what you don't know. The only way to have an experience is to have an experience. So I think this is going to bode well for the Ospreys moving forward as they get into conference play later.
That is life in college basketball for a lot of mid-majors. You have a completely new team every year. Transfer portal, new staff. in some ways for North Florida. Bobby Kinnan in his first year as head coach, but in his 17th season with the program. He now steps into the helm as Matthew Driscoll departs after 16 seasons.
Yeah, and this place means everything to him, right? You know, he cut his teeth coaching here, and you know, family is everything to him. So he's going to pour every ounce of his being into making sure that he turns this program into something special.
And he spoke so highly of his guys and the team bonding they did over the offseason. Just getting in there and investing in this group and knowing that every game, every little moment, every week is going to be a process to get us where we want to in March.
Yeah, you know, and talking to coach and shoot around, you know, lots of teams have mantras, right? You know, Tennessee's is "It's not about me, Edom." I said, you know, describe the Ospreys in one word, and he said family, right? Because they have that sense. And you look down at his arm, and he's got goosebumps because it means something to him.
Amen. A good look. And Tennessee with a clear height advantage. Had his head over the defender, couldn't finish it. Other way, a good pump fake. Mason Lee gets two.
Yeah, Coach Barnes is not going to be happy about that. That is just a bad attempt to get back on defense. And again, if you're the Ospreys, man, as many easy buckets as you can get at the 10, you'll take those.
Amen on the right wing is 1 for 3 to start his evening. JP Estrella going to work. He's had a great start in his redshirt sophomore season, coming off a career high 17 on Saturday.
Well, that's just too easy, right? If you're Tennessee basketball, you need to play to your strengths. And obviously tonight, a strength is just to get the ball on the interior.
From the top of the key off the mark, Trey Cady. Rebound by Amen. Coach Barnes always preaches, let's get the ball to our paint guys. And so far, Tennessee's done that this year. Amen. 3. Rims out. Estrella all over it. Second chance for Tennessee. Gillespie off the mark as well.
Yeah, and the best time to take a three-point shot is off an offensive rebound. So you have J.P. Estrella who got the rebound. But you look here, this is a lack of effort to get back to understand that, man, someone is behind me that has a different uniform on, so I need to get back and protect.
North Florida lost in game 1 last week, 64-104 at defending national champion Florida. And now you come to Knoxville. It's two very physical teams. And the message is, can we play at that same physicality? Can we grow from that Florida experience to this one? Can we get that much bit better? And
oftentimes oh, nice, beautiful cut, man. That's an out of bounds play. That's a staple for Coach Barnes. But, you know, a lot of times, Andy, your biggest growth as an individual, as a team, is from game 1 to game 2. So will they come into this environment intimidated, or will they come in ready to put it up and put it in?
Answered prayer. Cameron Oriole played in 32 games, all 32 last year. Now is in a much bigger role as a starter, and now is being asked to be a go-to scorer.
He is going to be the catalyst, the engine that drives North Florida this year. Their hopes and aspirations are going to ride on him because, you know, there's some key members that we haven't even talked about tonight that Coach Kinnan is not going to have in his repertoire, in his arsenal for the first few games, first few months of the season.
Offensive rebound for the Ospreys. Pass inside. Devin Hines everywhere. Gets his own miss. Gets it to go. He's got 9 points.
Yeah, they're just quicker to the basketball right now. They're catching Tennessee flat-footed, and there's no reason why a team that has the lack of size should be offensive rebounding the way that they are.
Gillespie, nothing but net. The sharpshooter transfer from Maryland from deep.
That's what he does so very well. Every time he shoots the ball, you just think that it's going in.
Kent Jackson answers on the other end.
Kent Jackson, man, made Jacoby Gillespie pay because he went under that screen.
3 starting to fall for both sides. North Florida wants possession back. Will stay. Tennessee ball underneath.
Well, you look at this replay here. Can't go under the screen, man. You're in no man's land if you're Jacoby Gillespie because that's a really good shooter, right? He's already made 1. That's his second. Make Tennessee pay.
For North Florida, that is Their fourth made three of this first half. Tennessee with 2. Inbounds Estrella, open rim, the flush.
Wow, I read that one like a book. Again, some great action from Tennessee, setting some screens, and Estrella slipped the screen, got to the basket, and finished with authority.
Really good baseline plays from Tennessee. Estrella now on the other end defensively, a deflection. These Tennessee big men not afraid to play on the perimeter.
No, and Tennessee, these are not emergency switches. They're just switching. And sometimes it gets them in trouble, but it's because of the athleticism of their bigs that they can afford to do that.
Gillespie. Mari Evans into the game for Tennessee. Kobe Gillespie off the mark. Can't hit the second straight, but Dwayne Brown is there. Amen. Feeding Estrella, and he's dominating inside.
Really good pass. Anytime you see a big like JP Estrella get 2 feet in the paint, you got to give him the rock, because more times than not, he's going to put it up and score.
8 points and 4 rebounds for Estrella inside, and that's an Osprey turnover.
You look at this replay, man, the slip of the screen when you least expect it. JP Estrella. And then here, get 2 feet in the paint, big guy. Turn around and just put it up.
Estrella played just 3 games last season. Highly recruited prospect out of Maine. Foot surgery took away a lot of his second year, but he seems very fresh early into his 3rd season in Knoxville. Another basket.
Yeah, man, that's like 9th grade math, man. It's just too easy, right? Well, not for me. That was for you, Andy. It's just too easy. Get the ball where it's supposed to be on the interior and just let the big man go to work.
Tennessee dominating in the paint offensively. North Florida looking for an answer, and there it is. B.J. Plummer, the freshman out of Tallahassee, knocks it down.
Yeah, Plummer took advantage of the tag defense, help side defense, just being a little late.
Estrella for 3, the big man showing the range.
Better respect him. I can do it inside, I can do it outside. He looks at the pitch and says, yeah. I knew I had it all the way.
Estrella is unconscious right now. 13 points for the big man, 6 of 7 from the floor. Now he's added the 3-pointer to his arsenal. Threes are flying on both ends off the mark.
But again, I know that North Florida missed that shot, but I really like the offense, right? Because again, they're making Tennessee move.
Estrella again. Can't connect. Whole building would have exploded.
Absolutely.
Oriole, 2 open that time.
Lack of intensity, lack of effort getting back. These are the type of possessions that you don't want to be in a Coach Barnes film study tomorrow.
North Florida, they are an up-tempo team. They don't mind to shoot the 3. It feels like their tempo of play right now.
This is their style of game. And with the lack of size that they have, they run great offense, and they have to knock down their fair share of threes to stay within arm's reach. And right now, man, just a 4-point deficit with 6 minutes left in the first half.
Fantastic first half so far for North Florida. That is a deep 3 from Kent Jackson. Felt comfortable with it. Out to Plummer. The Ospreys, they've been rebounding the ball a lot better than they did in that first game against Florida so far.
Yet another offensive rebound for the Ospreys. That is absolutely unacceptable for Tennessee and all of the size that they employ.
Ament from the wing, draws the foul, and 3 crucial free throws. It is a 3-point barrage on both ends. A lot of offense so far in this one.
Yeah, great pass. Again, got off his feet, threw it over, finished great, and then JP Estrella, man, if you're going to leave me open, man, hand down, man down, I'm going to knock that down.
Almost a dream start if you're North Florida here on the road. It's 20th ranked Tennessee. 6 made three-pointers. And then, Steve, we talked about rebounding was going to be so key. They were out-rebounding Tennessee. 8 offensive rebounds as well.
Yeah, you know, that is how you spring an upset if you're North Florida. You got to come in, you got to knock down threes, you got to limit offensive possessions for Tennessee, particularly on the glass, and they're doing just that by getting more offensive rebounds and rebounds overall than Tennessee.
Nate Amen at the line for 3 free throws. It's such an improvement. Bobby Kinnan talked about growth from game 1 to 2. It's a team that got out-rebounded by Florida 64-24.
And Florida has great size, but not the type of size that's different than Tennessee. You know, Tennessee has 5 big guys that can go in and utilize their strength to get rebounds. So North Florida, man, has grown by leaps and bounds from game 1 to game 2.
Nate Ament knocks in his free throws. Able to get a foul drawn from the three-point line, and now ball's back up 5. Bobby Kinnan talked about each section of a game being so important. It's like a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, and they've won the last 2 out of 3 4-minute segments. So that's how, again, you stay in a basketball game.
Steal for Tennessee. Transition. Amari Abram, a reversal. Good finish.
Yeah, great finish. Great offense from Tennessee. Sometimes, again, Andy, it's just make the simple play. That leads to, you know, simple offensive sets. That leads to simple baskets.
It is not a close game for lack of offense from Tennessee, shooting 54% from the floor. They've made 5 of their last 6, and now starting to apply some defensive pressure.
Well, it's got to be ratcheted up just a notch. And, you know, when you look at the fact that Tennessee's being out-rebounded and they are also, you know, turning the ball over. They got 5 turnovers so far in this basketball game. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but again, if you're going to try to spring an upset, if you're North Florida, you need to capitalize on all the turnovers that you can get.
Gillespie off the screen, in and out. Cade Phillips muscles his way up for 2.
Cade Phillips, man, he's got some hops and springs of his own.
Big time offensive rebound. Tennessee's 5th of the game. Devin Hines has been lethal for North Florida. He's sitting with 9 points. Nate Ament, deflection. Gillespie hits the deck. Abram throws it up. Phillips!
Nice. The high riser, Cade Phillips. Wonderful pass from Abram.
Everything in sync for the Vols on that one. Defense, offense, show-stopping play.
Hey, man, when you ratchet up the pressure, turn them over, it leads to, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to see right here. Sweet, unselfish pass to Cade Phillips, playing above the rim.
Tennessee on a 9-0 run. North Florida 3 turnovers their last 2 minutes. Steve, when they're not moving and getting the looks they want, the three-point line is where they've been the most successful tonight. That's what they're going to have to try to find out of this break.
Yeah, Coach Kennan, this has got to be what he's going to preach, right? Because if we just take care of the ball and don't turn it over, we're getting our fair share of not only good looks, but great shots. Sometimes you need a little help, right, in that last shot there. But you know, all in all, he's got to be pleased with the effort and the performance that his team is putting forth here on the Summit.
Yeah, Bobby Kennan talked about, he's a marathon runner himself, Steve. He says he's run three of them, and they've all been during the season, which is, how do you have the time for that? Impressive. Yeah. But he treats his games like a marathon where every section is its own little portion of the race. You got to win those little battles. They've won a few. Lost that last one. How do you come out of that break?
Well, you got to come out and you got to do something extraordinary like this right here. But I thought that's a wonderful set. Utilize Tennessee's defensive aggressiveness against them. Try to get a home run pass, but you just turn it over.
4 turnovers in the last 2 minutes for North Florida. Smooth finish on the other end for Abram, who's given some good minutes off the bench tonight.
I really like his game, man. The southpaw, you know, just smooth, subtle, can get to the basket when he wants, and he's really unselfish, and he's experienced. He's been around this game for a while. But you look at this here. You know, you close out. I'm a left-handed player, so you probably need to close out and make me go right. But if I'm going to be forced to go left, I'll do it, and I'll finish off the glass.
He's got the swag, right? The headband, the one sleeve, the hair, it's flowing.
Come on, man. You know, for Christmas, I think I'm going to ask for that hair.
Gillespie all over the place. Tennessee making it a lot more uncomfortable for North Florida defensively.
Yeah, something tells me that Coach Barnes and staff have really challenged Tennessee to step up their intensity and effort on the defensive end.
Oriole trying to do it all himself that time. He's off the mark. 3.5 remaining in the half, and that time Abram, ill-advised pass, ball still loose. Phillips on the deck. Abram for 3. And a foul on Carey underneath.
You know, Jalen Carey, I think is really going to help Tennessee as he becomes more and more acclimated to what Coach Barnes wants and needs of him. Because, you know, let's be honest, man, he gave Tennessee some work last year in both times that he, you know, challenged with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Carey, an exciting pickup from Vanderbilt, SEC experience. Got the start in game one, only 10 minutes on Saturday, but it was more of a defensive look that Coach Barnes was going for against the Norse of Northern Kentucky. Tennessee, some pressure on the inbounds.
Good look here at the Knoxville native, Dante Oliver. Local product, great kid, great family.
Oliver, the son of Desmond Oliver, former Tennessee assistant until 2021. Coach at ETSU as well. Now back in Florida, coaching high school ball. Fun homecoming for Dante. Drive in. Little piece there for Okpara to deflect the shot.
Did everything but go in.
Tennessee by 13. 11-0 run currently for the Vols. Amen. Contact to the line. That's a lot of what Coach Barnes wants to see from Amen, is to draw contact, get to the line, and that he's done so in his first few games.
Yeah, and you know, it's worth noting, it's been said before, but it bears repeating that someone like Nate, you know, he's slight of frame right now because his body is still filling out. But every time he gets hit, Andy, believe it or not, it's good for him, because it's only going to make him stronger when SEC play arrives, that is.
Amen has fully bought into this Tennessee program. Anytime you sign up to be coached by Rick Barnes, you sign up for some tough love, but a lot of growth, and he's bought in as well. The strength training, Garrett Maidenwall, nutrition, Amanda Fernandez. He's put on 20 pounds, Steve, since April when he committed.
Well, and that just speaks to how hungry he is to learn the game of basketball from a legendary coach like Coach Barnes that can help to get you to the next level, which is where you want to be.
The staff says he's not done as well. He's going to gain more weight as the season goes. Be ready for the physicality of, say, a Houston team here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, what a challenge that's going to be, huh?
Drive in from Hines, can't get it to go. He's been so good following his shot, not that time. Check out the handles from Ament all the way to the rim. And that's what you love about this kid, so talented, still fighting and back to the line. Man.
And you see the smile on his face, like, man, I did everything but put it in there. Got fouled a multiplicity of times and just left it a little short on the George Gervin-esque finger roll. But you got to be excited about what he can bring, right? The offensive rebounding, the second chances. Look, I mean, he's got 8 points and 6 rebounds already.
The handles for a guy at his height says 6'11", 6'10". I think he's 7 feet. And then the ability to weave in traffic and almost look like a guard.
Yeah, the ceiling is just so high.
Unbelievable.
You talk about all the prognosticators at the next level, and they look at him because of the promise that he has, and he's only going to get better. The long arms, the athleticism, the high release point, you can't say enough great things about him.
Everywhere Tennessee goes this season, there's going to be a lot of scouts nearby. Off the mark from the free throw line that time around. Trying to find Estrella inside, and a Tennessee turnover.
The best way to enter the ball into the post is dribbling down a little bit, getting a little closer to the baseline. It's really hard to make a great post pass from the elbow.
Kent Jackson had the green light. It's a scoring drought for North Florida. They don't have a point in the last 4.5 minutes. Tennessee's defense, this back stretch of the first half, has been relentless.
Defense has been great, but again, you look at what Tennessee just did there, right? You're on the verge of delivering perhaps a knockout punch by
similar magic to start this half.
Coach Kenner, on the other end, he wants to make sure that he gets a good offensive possession right here, try to score the basketball, and believe that you can win the next 4-minute segment.
Really tough schedule that North Florida has this season. At Florida, at Tennessee to start is about as tough as it gets for a first-year head coach. But he's been with this program now for 17 years. He knows it is all a growth mindset this early in the season.
And that's building some togetherness, right? That's building teamwork, camaraderie. We talked about the boot camp that he put his kids through preseason this year to build that teamwork, that sense of family. And it's got to pay off at some point. But I'm going to tell you what pays off right now is Nate Ament going to the basket.
Massive cram for Nate Ament, who stuffed the stat sheet, Steve, in the first half. He's got 11 points, 6 rebounds, 4 dimes.
And you look up and you're like, wait, he's got that much? Because he's a facilitator, he's a willing participator by scoring the basketball, he can rebound, he can do it all.
And he can dunk the ball, Steve.
Just the long strides. You just take off. You have to have those long strides, man. And with those long arms, it's just easy for him to get to the 10.
SEC Freshman of the Week after 2 games. There's the oop to Phillips. A poster on the lob.
2-man game. Again, they work that to perfection. Strong side, pick and roll, the release, the great pass, and the finish. Kate Phillips.
Tennessee fully clicking now at this point. And finally, a bucket for North Florida. Mason Lee ends what was a near 7-minute drought there for North Florida, stretching back to the first half.
Really needed that basket to go down, and that was a sweet stroke by Mason Lee. They're going to need more production from him.
7th 3 of the game for North Florida as a team. Jacoby Gillespie off the mark on the floater attempt.
Now, can you put together back-to-back baskets to get yourselves just a little closer?
Hines, 9 points in that first half. Hit a pair of threes. Cameron Oriole led the way with 19 against Florida. Tennessee has turned up the defensive pressure No contact on that drive. They're going to get Ethan Bird with the foul.
What you see right now from Tennessee is they're getting put in rotation. You go back and you look at this little two-man game here. The roll to the basket and the guy that's willing to always throw it up, Jacoby Gillespie.
Fresh shot clock for North Florida. North Florida, not that they were rushing, but they had a lot of quick possessions in that first half. A little different pace there here in that last possession to lead through the fresh shot clock now.
Yeah, and you know, I was going to say just a second ago, you're getting Tennessee in rotation because Tennessee can't keep their opponent in front of them. You got to be able to guard your yard. You got to lock down the person that you're guarding, because if you can't, if they blow by, it gets you in rotation or out of rotation, and it leads to wide open jumpers.
Kent Jackson on the drive. He had a pair of threes in the first half. He's up to 8 points.
And there's another blow by.
Back-to-back baskets for North Florida on there in the court. Gillespie off the screen. Another lob for Cade Phillips. That's twice now in the half.
Yeah, North Florida's really going to have to do a better job of tagging, and that's bringing a weak side defender to be on that help side, or else that's going to be all night long.
Cade Phillips with 8 points, and 3 of them have been via the lob. Tennessee does a really good job of setting up those big men that they do have to be able to make easy baskets at the rim.
Yeah, Tennessee really sets up their offense by getting into some floppy action or some money action, and that's just getting the guard into the heart of the paint and running him off of either side of a screen.
Jackson off the mark, offensive board for Mason Lee, and again, Tennessee, great interior defense.
Good heads-up help from Nate Ament.
Ament the spin. Maybe trying to do too much to drop it off to Okpara, gives it away.
Yeah, that's just a great illustration there of just trying to do too much, right? If you're Nate Ament, man, you got to go straight up with that. You're wide open, go up with that, lay it in, but that leads to a fast break possession on the other end for North Florida.
Ament has been really good at sharing the ball. 4 assists in this game. Here's a 3 from the left side. Offensive board, Phillips. Abram about as open as you could get.
Woo! That's pure, man. That is pure. Good extra pass from Jacoby Gillespie.
Amari Abram, no points in his last outing against Northern Kentucky. Big 3 there moves him up to 7 on the evening. Hines, step back 3. Can't get it.
Probably forced that one just a little bit too much, right?
North Florida 7 of 24 from 3, and Nate Ament again doing a good job of drawing contact. He'll get 2 shots.
That's what Nate Ament can do. Sometimes he's just a little too unselfish, but here you talk about an unselfish play. That's Jacoby Gillespie getting it over to Amari Abram for the sweet stroke and the 3-pointer.
Early season, teams are always trying to get that right chemistry, but a lot of that is built in the offseason that you don't see. First-year head coach Bobby Kinnan, longtime member of the North Florida program. His first year as head coach, he started something called Team Tuesdays. Tuesday nights, obviously. Guys are coming to the house. We're feeding you. We're hanging out. We're bonding.
Cohesion, chemistry, connectedness. That's what you got to build, especially when you have the amount of newcomers. It's hard, man. In this economy, again, we talked about this before, Andy, but when you're a mid-major in this economy with the advent of the transfer portal, NIL and all that, man, you got to find a sense of team, and you got to develop it quickly. And I think that's a wonderful idea to bring guys together every Tuesday to your home abode and feed them a meal, man. Nothing welcomes a player like coming to a coach's house and eating a meal.
That is reality in mid-major basketball, is roster turnover. You're going to lose guys to the transfer portal. And then at the same time, you want to lose guys to the next level because that means they performed at a really high level where you are at. And that's a recruiting point for North Florida because they've done that.
Yeah, you look no further than Chaz Lanier. I mean, who came from North Florida and still calls both of these places home because he got his start there.
Gillespie, 3. Can't get it. Estrella everywhere. Phillips everywhere. 2 more shots for Tennessee.
This is what I expected to see at the onset of this game. Just, offensive rebound after offensive rebound after offensive rebound.
Check that out, Steve. It's the Chaz Lanier game tonight. 4 years at North Florida, and then one really good year last season for Tennessee. 18 points a game for the Vols.
Yeah, still has a great relationship with not only Coach Barnes, obviously, but Coach Kinnan as well. He couldn't say enough great things about the player, the person that is Chaz Lanier. Shared a very interesting story about how Chaz Lanier gave Coach Kinnan a book and wanted him to read the book, and to come to find out later on, the athletic director had no idea that he had given him the book, and the athletic director wanted all the coaching staff to read that same book.
Yeah, Coach Kinnan, hard foul there, could allow Rick Barnes to feel comfortable with you out on the court.
Yeah, so if you're Tennessee and Coach Barnes, you've got a couple of spots that are locked down, that are immovable. Jacoby Gillespie, he's going to be your day one starter. You got someone like Felix Akpar, your day one starter. More than likely, this is where Nate Ament, your day one starter. So you got a couple of spots that if you're someone that's sitting on that bench right now, you got to go, man, what can I do to catch the coach's eye to carve out some of that valuable playing time for myself?
You always see a new version of a Rick Barnes Tennessee team. You say, well, this is the best that this team has, the best shooting team Rick Barnes' team has had, the best paint presence. What do you feel like this team is going to be the strongest at that we've seen from a Tennessee team in a few years?
I think the simple answer is depth. They're going to be best at depth. And I know that's not a great answer, but it's because of the depth that they have that they can get a 10-second violation here with the guys that they have on the floor. This is what Tennessee has lacked for several years now. You go back and you look at last year, Andy, they had 7 guys, maybe 8 guys that they could count on night in and night out. That's a deep bench he's got right now.
Gillespie off the mark from 3. He is 1 for 6 from behind the arc. Only so many minutes to go around for this Tennessee squad. Rick Barnes has said many times these freshmen are going to play. They have shown that they deserve to be in. Big moments for them here as Gillespie hard to the rim. Draw the contact, 2.
Well, I've said it before, but the only way to have an experience is to have an experience. And you got to let these young pups, man, you got to let them grow. And they need all of this, playing time that they're getting. I love this attack, though, by Jacoby Gillespie, man. You see the open avenue to the basket, attack it, get yourself to the free throw line. Sometimes that gets you into a rhythm.
And the free throw number is something that Coach loves. Coach Barnes is going to love 17 free throw shots at this point. 6 missed free throws, though, maybe not so much.
That's the problem. You're going to need to knock down your fair share of free throws, because when you're playing much stiffer competition, especially when SEC play starts, man, the charity stripe can be the difference between winning and losing.
2 easy ones that time for Gillespie. A steal from Abram, trying to go back up, and 2 more shots. Good hustle play from Abram. You talk about earning more time.
And, you know, you're a Shot A fan, the artist Shot A.
Oh, yeah.
Because Abram is a smooth operator,
okay.
Right? Just got his hands in the cookie jar with the steal and gets paid off by going to the free throw line.
Tennessee has been really good in the paint. A lot of them have been easy baskets. Lob City. Kid Phillips has been active, and that's part of what Rick Barnes wants, is these easy 2s.
Tennessee's got a lot of high flyers, man, a lot of rim attackers. And any time that you can get the ball point blank at the basket, you know, obviously it's a great thing. So, Andy, when you have the type of size advantage, you would think that Tennessee would want to do that a little bit more. You know, you look at the points in the paint right now, Andy, it's an astounding number. Tennessee is in, you know, it has 40 paint points. Juxtapose that with North Florida, they have 18. So, you know, Tennessee can get that all they want.
That has to make you happy, correct?
Hey, man, you know, I'm a big guy. I love talking about the post play.
Could you have made a 3 top of the key like Estrella?
I wasn't allowed to.
Oh.
Yeah, this is old school basketball and me talking. You know, I don't know that I would play in today's game because, man, I was very much so a back to the basket center, but everyone was.
Yep.
You know, today's game, man, is get up and down, the flow. It's changed so much.
A lot more 7-footers being asked to drive the ball and handle the ball.
Yeah, you look at someone like a Nate Ament, who's 6'10", that can do it all. He's just the quintessential big guy that can play outside as well as inside.
And you talk about what the profile NBA scouts look for. That is Nate Ament, and it's a very talented crop of freshmen in college basketball this season. He's going to have some stiff competition in terms of some end-of-the-year first-year player awards.
He is he's hungry, and again, he's very coachable, and something tells me that he is going to play at the next level for a long time.
Lots of preseason notoriety. The crowd is loud for the free throw attempt. 0 for 2. The crowd's going to win Chick-fil-A. How about that?
Chick-fil-A nuggets. You know, it's not often that you see the Tennessee student section harassing the officials wanting a foul call against the home team.
That is as loud as it will get at a 25-point game.
Another paint touch. J.P. Estrella has really worked on that jump hook. It's really unblockable because Coach Barnes teaches him to release it at the highest point. And when he's that crafty with the footwork, man, it's an easy game for him.
Yeah, Estrella is a player that only played in 3 games last year, but Steve, he looks like a guy that didn't miss a beat at all.
He's really worked all summer long, and not having the opportunity to help his team, especially in crunch time last year. Think about how much he could have helped Tennessee basketball against Houston. You know, just another big body that's athletic.
Think about what he was able to do as a true freshman. He played a career-high 15 minutes in the Elite Eight game against Zach Edey in Purdue and really played hard in that one. And it was setting him up for a big second year that he didn't get to live out.
Yeah, he's going to live up to the hype. You know, I call him the Maine man because obviously he is from Maine, pun intended, Andy.
Well done.
But just an incredible player.
Estrella has now tied a career high, he said on Saturday. 17 points.
The Ospreys really needed that. You know, Cameron Oriole stemming the tide to stay in this basketball game within arm's reach because it's getting out of control just a little bit. They're going to need more of that.
Clarence Masamba in the game for Tennessee, a freshman out of France, gives it up that time, but some, again, valuable minutes for another young player on this Tennessee roster they're excited about.
Another learning opportunity. Clarence Masamba will understand that Coach Barnes wants him to make that pass. And that's a great wraparound pass, but he can't make that pass if the defender's playing on the high side. You know, you got to take another dribble closer to the baseline to make an easier pass.
Good ball movement for Tennessee. Gillespie hits his second 3 here of the evening. 2 for 7 from distance.
Really good ball movement and unselfish play from Tennessee's offense.
Estrella and Brown inside, a foul called on Tennessee. You talk about Masamba and then Ethan Berg for Tennessee that got this start. Those are 2 guys that were not with the team in the summer, but yet, again, to Tennessee's depth point, they are going to contribute minutes this season for the Vols.
They really are. And you look at Masamba, you look at his stature. You know, he's got a college-ready body. It's just how quickly can he learn the system and gain the eyes of Coach Barnes and the coaching staff.
A couple of subs for Rick Barnes' side. Take 2 big men out, put 2 more in. That is one of the fun wrinkles for Tennessee that they haven't typically had. And you think about Rick Barnes' coach teams, especially early in his tenure with Tennessee, it was really developed around the big man, Grant Williams, John Fulkerson, and how he able to grow them from a freshman that maybe didn't have scouts jumping off the pages to see him into perennial stars in the league.
Yeah, you go back to someone like Kyle Alexander.
Yep.
You know, those type of guys that stay around, that mature in the program, and they turn into, you know, all conference type players.
Short stint there for Cade Phillips, but again, another big man rotating in Jalen Carey. It's going to keep guys, one, out of foul trouble that you have these bodies. You hopefully have continuity when you do make those subs. But then fatigue as well. It's a physical game inside.
Yeah, great dribble handoff action from North Florida.
And Kent Jackson has been real good from distance.
Yeah, he can stroke it now. You know, you need to run some more sets for him.
A 3 on the other end for Tennessee. Nate Ament from distance. He's got 17.
You probably also need to close out. You know, if you're going to go to a matchup zone, man, you got to know where the shooters are. And Nate Ament is more than capable of knocking down that open 3.
His first 3-pointer here of the evening. A very quick answer for Tennessee. Jackson again firing, and he hits. It's back-to-back for Kent Jackson. He's got 16 points.
Saw them work on that set earlier today. Little screen action. Ran that Iverson cut. Got wide open for the 3.
Ament wants another. He can't hit. And Jackson will win that mini battle back and forth between the 2.
If there's one guy that I'm going to try to get a shot off right now, it's Jackson.
He's waiting for it there on that left wing, swinging it back to him. Does he have 3 in a row in him? Good defense from Okpara. Masamba on Hines inside. Great take. Devin Hines finishes.
Good move. Good utilization of the head and shoulders fake. Got Masamba off balance and finished it the kiss of the glass. So, Andy, you know, we talked about winning the next 4 minutes. Now all of a sudden, you know, 20-point lead. Can you carve into it a little more?
The ball landed right in the hands of Jalen Carey. A good rebound up for 2.
Jalen Carey just looks like a man's man out there.
Yep. Father Vernon Carey Sr., a longtime NFL career. His brother was a Freshman of the Year winner at Duke. A lot of athletes in that family. 3 from Oriole. No good. Amen. Gillespie, look at that move. Sends a man flying. Can't finish the highlight play. Offensive rebounds everywhere for Tennessee.
Too many long arms right there that are just right there at the 10 that can put it back up and in. But an incredible move from Gillespie.
Again, 14 minutes into this game, North Florida was winning the rebounding battle despite being at a severe disadvantage in height. Tennessee buttoned that up pretty quick.
They have, and they're limiting, you know, those second chance possessions from North Florida.
Do you attribute some of that to just game fatigue? North Florida came out really jumpy, really aggressive. It's a Tennessee team that's going to inevitably wear you down if you play it almost to that speed.
Yeah, and you got to give North Florida a lot of credit, man, not being intimidated. Again, we talked about them going to Exact Tech Arena as the block party has started here. But, you know, they came into this environment not intimidated, and they jumped on Tennessee early because they had that experience of being in a big-time environment.
7 block shots for this Tennessee defense. Okpara rejects that one. All Tennessee in the second half. Tennessee with comfortable lead here in Knoxville. This is game 3 of what is going to be a gauntlet when it's all said and done in non-conference play. Of course, you go to Vegas for a huge tournament, and you're going to face Rutgers at Houston and a potential other top 25 team. And then that one against Louisville at home, that is going to be a ruckus crowd in Knoxville.
So you look at the first 5 games that Tennessee has, and those might be classified as a tune-up. But then you look here on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, Rutgers, no pushover. Number 1, Houston, Syracuse, Louisville, who dispatched of a really pesky Kentucky Wildcat basketball team last night. Man, that's a gauntlet.
There's a lot of ways to build a schedule, especially for a Power 4 team. You know, a lot of teams right away, they play top 10 matchup, top 25 matchup game 1. It's a good strategy from Tennessee. They tend to do it differently. There's not one way that Rick Barnes does it, but to get these first 5 games, as you mentioned, to figure some things out about yourself as a team, and then that's when you go head-to-head with some of the best in the nation as well.
Well, the schedule, and it was masterfully done. You knew that the camaraderie and the cohesion was just not going to be there, especially with so many newcomers. You lost to Zakai Ziegler and a Jemai Mashak, stalwarts of Tennessee basketball. So you got to build that chemistry, and it's going to take some time.
Yeah, 2 significant losses, obviously, with Zakai Ziegler, Jemai Mashak, one from a defensive aspect, but just vocally as leaders. And that's not an easy thing to fill. There are a lot of guys that are going to need to step up and be that locker room presence. Tennessee has some upperclassmen that have been here that can do that, but that's a big point in these early games.
Who's going to be that vocal leader that is sorely missed from last year? I know that Coach Barnes would really like for that to be someone like a Jacoby Gillespie, who has that, you know, big-time experience playing for Maryland last year, playing for Belmont. So he's been around, but you know, the question still remains. Who's going to be that vocal leader that is going to take charge in dire situations like Tennessee, no doubt, is going to face this year?
Tennessee by 30. 9-0 run currently. And a collision on that one between Ament and Hines.
Nate is going to utilize a massage, perhaps a masseuse to give a massage here, because he's been hit a few times tonight. But again, that's good for him at this stage of his career to develop that toughness.
Clearly, obviously, in your eyes, Steve, Nate has handled these first 3 games with a lot of poise.
Without a doubt. He has acquitted himself very well. That's a good big-to-big pass.
Oh, Akpara just bullies his way to the rim.
They found a mouse in the house, took advantage of it and put it in.
Tennessee just dominant in the interior, and that's the big part of this game. They had the height advantage, and they utilized it, particularly down the stretch of that first half and in the second. North Florida 3 from the corner. That's been their bread and butter as Dante Oliver connects.
Love, again, that kid, the local product, worked his rear end off, developed into a really nice player that's going to be counted on for some big-time baskets for North Florida.
Barnes frustrated by that turnover. Devin Hines misses the 3 on the other end. Henderson, smooth jump shot off the mark.
Ospreys may want to pull it out here. We got a man down. Can't quite get the number.
Looks like Mason Lee, redshirt sophomore out of Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Looks like he twisted his ankle coming down from that rebound attempt.
Seems to have just a little hitch in his giddy up here. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Oh, you know, you just, unfortunately, you step on someone's foot, man, and bad things happen when you do.
The North Florida team, they're down a little size in the paint. They're down 2 pretty key players in this lineup, so they're not full strength as well. Gillespie altered that shot, got a piece of it. It has been block city for this Tennessee team.
Gillespie's just such a good player. Once he really gets his feet wet with this Tennessee basketball team, look out. The all-conference awards are just going to be numerous for him, in my opinion. Now, the conference is extremely deep. It's a talented league again this year. but he's going to carve out some of those awards.
For both of these teams, Steve, how important are the final few minutes of a game? You know, you might know the result at this point. How important are these minutes right here?
Well, you got to finish strong. You have to finish strong. You know, if you're Tennessee, you want to finish by extending the lead even more, playing even harder, playing tougher, getting little putbacks like that. Because I can tell you this, as much of a stickler as Coach Barnes is for film study, every minute, every possession counts.
What's going to be the one thing Coach Barnes circles after this one before Rice on Monday for Tennessee?
Turnovers, no doubt. And then secondarily, the lack of intensity from the start in terms of what you just saw there. When Tennessee has a 6'11", when they've got a 6'10", when they've got a 6'10", those point-blank basket looks cannot happen.
Tennessee by 29, a little under 4 to go in this one. Vols and Osprey first ever meeting. This is just the second of what is a really tough non-conference stretch for North Florida. That's life as a mid-major. You typically load up your schedule early. You see the best of the best to know where you need to be at to compete with them come tournament time. And again, it's conference season that matters, and really it's one weekend that matters. That's your conference championship tournament.
Well, Coach Kennan said it best. You know, when you challenge your team in an environment like Gainesville, Florida, Knoxville, Tennessee, and Gonzaga, it's only going to pay dividends when conference play starts. And you know, as he intimated to us in shoot-around, it doesn't matter if you go 18-0 in conference play. It comes down to 3 days in March. Can you count on your team to have valuable experience from this environment to get you 3 wins in March?
Ospreys picked 9th by the media in the ASUN. Bobby Kinnan joined his program as an assistant in 2009, helped get the team to the NCAA tournament in 2015. 3 conference regular season titles as an assistant. He knows what it takes to win in that conference. They're certainly going to have their hands full first 2 months of the season before that.
You like the challenge, right? We've all been there, Andy, where you're an underdog, a decided disadvantage with size and things that nature. But you want to make sure, great move by Dante Oliver there to get that to go in. But you want to make sure that you give your best every single night, regardless of the score. If you're North Florida, if the Ospreys right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's 0-0. I'm winning the next possession.
Bobby Kinnan has built a fantastic staff to guide this Osprey team through this first season with him as the head coach. He retained Stephen Perkins and Bruce Evans. They've been with the program now for 13 years. You bring in Bob Marlin, legendary coach of the Sun Belt, Louisiana at Sam Houston State. And then Carter Hendrickson, 3-time All-A Sun, one of the best players this program's history. So that's a great staff he's got with him.
Can't say enough about as Gillespie knocks down a three.